Thank you very much, Cahill. And just I want to thank Kieran and Daniel for the excellent presentation once again to this committee. An absolute clarity again in your presentation on a complicated issue. But I think from listening to you, and from previous discussions as well, it's obvious that this legislation proposed by the British government, it's a charter to excuse murderers, whether they were from state forces or paramilitary organisations. And in any democratic society, it's a sad day when we're talking about introducing that type of legislation. And from what I gathered from your comments as well was, a person could literally grant themselves an amnesty if they say to the best of their true and to the best of their knowledge and belief. That's shambolic altogether, to put it very, very mildly. It's absolutely, it's reprehensible. It's absolutely unacceptable. And I think we had discussions in the Dáil and Shannon that many of us would have participated in here back over the past, since this bill was first introduced by the British government. And, you know, I for one and others would have used compared the legislation to what tin pot regimes in South America would be introducing. Now, that was a political charge on my part, but you put a legal hat on that when you mention about it. It's even less than General Pinochet granted people. So I think that from you outlined that clearly. We can make the political charge which we stand over, but when you state that in bold legal terms, it's a fairly frightening message that this is the type of legislation proposed by a government and unfortunately passed through a house in the British Parliament. It's absolutely reprehensible. Could I just say, paragraph 9 of your opening statement, I think it's powerful. It's so comprehensive and it's so succinct, and it sends out really a stark message. And I just quote it: "We've concluded that the bill is unworkable, is in breach of the Good Friday Agreement, interferes with the devolved administration of justice in Northern Ireland, contravenes binding international law, and that it will not deliver for victims and survivors, many of whom have waited for decades for truth and justice." Do you know, that's a powerful summary of what shouldn't be done in regard to dealing with legacy issues. And it's absolutely shameful that any government or people who voted for this legislation in the British House of Commons, that they would put their names to such reprehensible legislation. You know, all I can say is, without taking up time on that, is to compliment you and your committee and your colleagues on the excellent work that you do. And you said that you have a lot of close contact and interaction with the Department of Foreign Affairs, both the Taoiseach here, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, and other members of the government, and people of all political groupings in this House have outlined very, very clearly on every occasion their absolute opposition to this legislation. And the one thing that the Cathaoirleach and my colleague Senator Erden referred to murders, horrific murders that took place years ago. Some of them carried out by paramilitary organisations, some carried out by British forces. And we all know that time is ebbing away. There are families who have campaigned for decades and whom I and others have supported over the years, trying to get justice. So this is proposing to cut off any avenue to getting the truth, never mind getting a person prosecuted. And all of those families who act with such great grace and dignity all of the time, all they ever want to get is to get the truth. There's nothing vengeful about them. They're very, very gracious, so they are. But to just say to those families, some of them have been here with us at this committee, we meet them in our own constituencies, to say to them, doesn't matter now what work you've done or what maybe conclusion the investigation will be coming to, that's all for naught. It's absolutely deplorable. So I just, in your work and your ongoing contact with international bodies as well, I think it's great that it's not just this clear, stark message with great clarity that you give. It's not just coming from us public representatives and a political message, that it's coming backed up by international law as well. So I just compliment you on your work and keep up that good work. Thank you, Cathaoirleach.